We are here. This is not the smartest guys in the room. I see my friend Tom. I see our friend Holly down here. Not the smartest guys in the room. We are talking something that everybody's dealing with. If they're not dealing with, we need secrets from them. AI fatigue, Tom. Right into AI fatigue today. So, what say you, my friend? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Good morning. Happy hump day. Which
That should
which
be.
just made me think of those, remember those commercials with the camel?
I love the commercial with the camel, and I love a meme with the camel. I forever. So one of the things about Motivation Champs, my business, Motivation Champs, is we try to share positivity every day. Like, so it could be videos me and Tom create. It could be something we're a book we're working on. It could be a meme of an avocado saying, looking in the mirror saying, but it's good fat. One of my favorite things to share is the hump, the camel with the hump on Wednesday, where the camel is yelling and like woohoo, it's hump day. So, Tom, I know the meme. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, it just popped into my head. What was his name? Carl? Is that was his name Carl? Am I right in remembering that? Was that the camel's name in those commercials? Was it Carl?
Did the camel actually have a name? Now, this is one. If you know the camel's name, I mean, that is like the most intense memory of all time. Like nobody knows the. And if you made up that the camel's name is Carl, I wonder why you made that up. Holly, Holly, do you know what Tom's talking about? Did the camel have a name? She's like, no. Tom,
Um,
go,
I
oh, I'm here, but I did not know that camel had a name.
go
I
on, Tom.
I just looked it up. It was Caleb, not Carl.
Okay. Hey, you're gonna get. I want to start this day with, since you got me down this hump day thing. This is almost like a. I should save it for a PSA later, but a pet peeve of mine. I hate it. I hate when somebody says somebody's celebrating Friday, somebody's celebrating Wednesday, somebody's celebrating Saturday, and somebody says, "Oh, you shouldn't celebrate Friday. You should celebrate every day of the week. You shouldn't celebrate Wednesday because you should enjoy every day of the week." Hey, I can celebrate, and that person can celebrate whatever day they want. If they want to celebrate Wednesday for whatever reason, people are like, well, you're not living your best life if you celebrate Wednesday or you celebrate Friday. Well, whoever's going to rebut this, yeah, I'm salty already, Tom. Whoever's going to rebut this, well, maybe more of my family's off on the weekend. Maybe my kids aren't in school. Maybe my husband or wife is off that day. So put trying to bring me down by saying, you celebrate Wednesday, you celebrate Friday. I don't like it, Tom. So I like that camel, Caleb the camel, and I support Caleb. And now I'm going to share that meme even more. What do you think about that?
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. I think actually, what was funny was when I looked that up real quick. Apparently, Carl is a common misremembering of the name of that camel. For some, I don't know if there was another character in one of those commercials named Carl or something, and that's where the mix-up came from. But yeah, it feels like a Mandela effect, Berenstain Bears kind of deal. But yeah. Anyway, I guess all that to say, happy Wednesday.
I receive it, Tom. And one more thing. One more thing while I'm going through things I'm mad about on this Happy Wednesday. Did you see that Liberty Mutual has a new, like, round little logo all of a sudden? It's like a furry. They ditched that Liberty Bibbity guy, I think, and now they got this round little. I don't. It looks like an asterisk or something, and it says the same thing, but I think they're trying to replace the emu. So, uh, before we get into AI fatigue, what do you think about that, Tom? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. No. And that sounds like somebody who doesn't understand people came up with that idea, right? Like so many of these sort of like rebrands, like the Cracker Barrel rebrand, right? Like springs to mind, that like very famous, very recent huge failure of a rebrand that actually ended the career of the CEO of Cracker Barrel, right? That feels like a sort of parallel decision, right? Like, oh, let's replace it with this like weird character thing, right? So instead of a person that like stumbles over a word, which everyone can relate to, I mean, God knows we stumble over words all the time, live on the internet, right? So like rather than having a human being that can relate to their audience can relate to, right? Or even something with like human character that people can relate to, like even the Geico lizard, right? People relate to it because it has a personality. And they think it's funny, like, instead of that, God forbid you let people actually relate to your sort of mascot or spokesperson. Instead, it's got to be some weird, corporate slop that sounded great on a boardroom and fit in perfect in a PowerPoint deck that some Wharton grad put together, but actually in the real world falls to shit. So, I mean, yeah, color me completely unsurprised. Welcome to the enshittification of everything.
Tom, this is fair. Everybody look it up. It looks like an old school angry orange. Remember Angry Orange that smiled real big and like said angry things to people? It looks like Angry Orange, but it's yellow. So as we get into AI fatigue here and is it real? I think they probably took the same idea. They said, "Hey, let's make Angry Orange yellow, and it's not even something, and then we'll have the same commercial." Let's people. I think people don't like this guy that fumbles over his words. Let's have this little dot that looks like Angry Orange fumble over words. Yeah, so that's what I got. Okay, Tom, AI fatigue. We're getting into this conversation. Is it real? It's. I have Holly up here. I see Julie, both people that are in media, in storytelling, you, Tom, as well. I have AI fatigue. I use AI. I love AI. I'm torn here. I'm like, what do you call that? Somebody in a relationship that doesn't know exactly where to go. I love AI. I use AI. But at the same point, I am receiving so much content that is borderline AI slop from submissions and manuscripts. And when I'm seeing, even in advertising and emails, so much slop that I'm identifying it. Well, this looks like the last 10 emails I got or the last 10 manuscripts I got. It looks just like it. I mean, formatted per paragraph the same way. So, Tom, I have some fatigue. I'll be honest with you. So that's where I will start this conversation, and I will drop it off to you.
All right, I appreciate that. So yeah, like AI fatigue is real. What I was really like, what I really want to get to, and I think AI fatigue is a way to get there, right? What I really want to talk about is the AI bubble, right? Is there an AI bubble coming? And is it about to burst? And how do we know? And why do a lot of people think that, right? I don't know about the burst side, but I think there's a bubble, right? I think we're in a bubble. And I'll lay out sort of, why I think that. But um, I think first of all, you're absolutely right. I am as well. A lot of people are experiencing huge amounts of AI fatigue, right? I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. LinkedIn actually just added a new option on their on posts when, because there was always the option to like report a post. Right now, you can report it as AI slop, right? Because there is so much crap, so much slop on LinkedIn that, and people were so upset about it that they actually added a button. So now you can report posts as AI slop on LinkedIn. So like it is, AI fatigue is very real and a lot of people are feeling it. Now, I see that in what's interesting is I see that in people who value creative work and who value storytelling in particular. Like, so, we have, we're, for my own business, for Talix, right? We're talking to leadership at companies all the time. And one of the sort of common theme that comes up, and how we can tell pretty quickly in a conversation whether the person we're talking to actually values or places a high value on the kind of work that we do as an organization, is whether or not they ask why they should use AI instead of us, right? And if they think they can replace what we do with AI, I welcome them to try, right? It's really not possible. AI is pretty bad at creative work. It basically just regurgitates stuff that already has been done, and doesn't actually repackage it in a even a creative or inventive way. So it's basically just regurgitating stuff that's already happened, right? So yeah, there is a level of sameness, especially around creative work or generative work, writing, right? Video, graphics, et cetera, et cetera. I see tons of posts of graphic artists complaining about the graphics that AI puts out, and how you can tell right away that something was created by AI. And the dead giveaway is usually that there's just way too much happening, right? Because AI doesn't understand how people interpret imagery, right? It doesn't understand how to direct someone's eye, right? It doesn't understand that often in graphics, less is more, and putting a lot of writing or a lot of text on a flyer, right, or a graphic for something is actually counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. So, yeah, I am increasingly seeing more and more people say, "Hey, look, AI is not good at this. Please stop making this stuff with AI. I know you don't know enough to know how bad it is, but it's really bad, and it's making you and your brand and your business look bad to other people. So maybe you don't know it because, hey, maybe you run a trucking company, right? And so, like, you don't have an artistic bone in your body because you're really, really good at logistics. Like, that's your thing. That's what you are amazing at logistics. You're amazing at getting things from from point A to point B, and navigating the bureaucracy and the red tape of getting things through customs or whatever, right? Like, maybe that's your zone of genius. Well, yeah, so great. You're really good at that. You're probably not great at graphic design. And so you don't realize that when you put out this kind of AI slop that represents your brand, you think it's great or it looks fine to you, but to other people outside of your organization, it looks like AI slop, and that's a problem. And I think that pushback is starting to land with leadership, even leadership who doesn't really understand and doesn't really value creative work, or hasn't previously. That kind of pushback is starting to land. So yeah, I think there is fatigue, real fatigue happening. And here's why I think the fatigue is happening, and here's what I think it is an indication of, right? So I think the AI fatigue is happening because AI was overhyped, right? So the use of generative AI, specifically ChatGPT, right? But models like ChatGPT, like Grok, right? And like Claude, um, were so overhyped, right? They were promoted as an inevitability, something that was going to replace most jobs within the next couple of years, right? I think that was one of Elon's things that he was running around saying, that, like, Grok and models like Grok were going to replace most jobs by the end of by 2028 or something like that, which now seems like a completely, I mean, at the time it was a ridiculous thing to say. It's very obviously ridiculous now, I think, even to most people outside of this kind of rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, it was completely overhyped, right? And that was in an effort to drive up subscriptions, because the real problem with AI is that there's way too much debt for the revenue that they're bringing in, right? Like, I mean, I forget what it is, but I think, yeah, OpenAI, right? ChatGPT, the company that owns ChatGPT, they've raised roughly $13 billion in capital funding, right? And they their ARR, like their annual revenue, is like about 3 billion, right? So like even it with zero interest, right, on that capital raise, try at zero profit, it would take them more than 4 years to make that money back, right? So like we're at like 2030 before they're even green, like in the green, right? So the problem is that they were way overhyped. They took on way too much debt way too quickly, right? And now they're trying to get their revenues up to service that debt and to try to turn a profit beyond the servicing of that debt. And they're not doing real good at it, right? The math don't math. And that's the real problem, right? That they've built this relatively unsustainable model because they thought that it would perform the way other Silicon Valley sort of models have performed in the past, where they've injected a ton of cash, they've burned through that cash to bring on subscribers, and then they've proceeded with the enshittification play, where they then turned up the cost to draw more revenue out of their subscribers and their users, and actually ended up sort of in the green, right, as a result of that play. And these AI companies have tried to play the exact same method, tried to employ the exact same play, and it's not working, right? And so they're in a place where the math doesn't math anymore. The capital to revenue gap is too big, and they're scrambling, right? And so we're in this place where like the AI is a bubble on a pinhead, right? And just the littlest breeze in any direction could push it off, right? Or could make it pop. And so I think, you know, yes, we're in a bubble. I don't know what the ramifications will be when that bubble does burst, but all bubbles burst. So it will burst. It could be gentle, right? It could be a gentle letdown afterwards. It could be catastrophic. It depends on how intertwined AI becomes with government and with industry. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why we're experiencing this fatigue, right? Is because it was so overhyped and so forced down our throats, right? That people are just getting tired of it. And like anything, right? Like any good thing, right? It started out as a great thing. Oh, this is great. This is fun. This is different. This is interesting. This is new, whatever. Like anything else, man, like if you force feed too much of something to anyone, eventually they're going to put up their hand and say, enough, right? I mean, like even ice cream, right? Like, I mean, most people love ice cream, but if you make someone eat ice cream for every meal, eventually, pretty quickly, they're going to turn around and say, you know what? I don't want any more freaking ice cream. Stop it. Stop giving me ice cream. Give me something else. And so that's what I think we're kind of coming up against, is that tension, right, between it being overhyped, it deriving or taking on too much debt in the form of capital, venture capital, and not delivering enough revenue, and so trying to push to change the equation and failing, and people going, enough, man, enough. Take your chatbot and leave me alone. I don't want it anymore. And so yeah, I think AI fatigue is very, very real.
See, Tom, you're shot out of a cannon about the subject. So you picked well today. And in my world, I'm the same way as you, Tom. Like I just see creators, the value of creators right now, the value of original thought. Here's where I think it's going to explode. The value of original concept, original thought. AI can't do that. So, well, this large language model that people are putting data into, the people with original thoughts in their head are at a premium. We've always said that AI is a tool. If you have original thought in your head and you use the tool to create, to disseminate, to advance something, okay. But if you don't have original thought in your head and you're using this large language model and leading on it. Well, the large language model only has so much language in it, and the chat bot, and Tom talks about this a lot. It's just math. So there's only so many problems in the world that can be solved with math. There's only, when you put the data in the large language model, there's only so many equations you can formulate. Now, it's probably a lot, but there's only so many formulas you can equate with the data that you put in at the time. That's it. So the people with original thoughts in their head, they have the edge. They're going to have the edge, and they're at a premium. And Tom, not the smartest guys, the people in this room, I'm loving it because I'm seeing these people being able to use the tool, but not depend on the tool. Take one of my tools away, I'm gonna survive. I'll move over to this tool. I don't live on one tool. I don't. The hammer isn't the only thing I use. The pencil isn't the only thing I use. I can still succeed many other ways. So should the bubble break, as Tom says, I'll be all right, and I think the people in this room will as well. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it just, this is what popped into my head, right? When you're talking about creating something new or original thought, right? So I always look at it this way. I don't think innovation, right, is really so much about creating something brand new that has never ever been imagined, thought of, or some variation of it hasn't been done in the past. There's very few things that can be considered absolutely brand new, right? But what I think innovation really is the novel combination of existing things into something new, right? Something that hasn't existed exactly the way it is previously. And I'll give you an example of this. Like just last week, we pitched a taco drama, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but we pitched a taco drama format to a company, and it was a combination, right? And this is going to sound kind of weird, but it was a sort of mashup of the things that made three different stories work, right? So it was kind of a mashup of, it was like Pinocchio meets The Jungle Book meets Wall-E. So like that's a weird sort of combination of things. And we put that right in the pitch doc, right? Like not trying to shy away from that, not trying to say that we didn't take inspiration from those three incredibly well told famous stories, right? But it was a novel take on a story based on those three existing stories, right? Like, and it's sort of a taking a bit, borrowing a bit from each of them. So yeah, so like that's what I'm talking about when I talk about like innovation, and that is something that AI is really bad at. It can't do that kind of work, right? It just can't. If you said create a short form, vertical drama series, a taco drama for me, that is a mashup of Pinocchio meets The Jungle Book meets Wall-E, it would come up with an abomination. I guarantee it. In fact, I almost want to do that just to see what it comes up with, but I bet you it would be an abomination. And that's what it's just not good at. It's not good at that kind of innovation, that kind of creative work, right? And so that's why I'm not worried about my job. But yeah, this weird brain that I've got rattling around between my ears, I think is still has value even in the age of AI.
Good stuff, Tom. Let's hear from some of our friends. We got Holly, we got Julie, we got Jason. To Tom's a robot. What do you say? Pinocchio, Wall-E, and something else. So I put in the comments to Tom. First, it was a robot lying, and then my thoughts are: I wonder if it's a robot, a young robot lying, L-I-E, in the jungle. So that's what I think his story is about. Hey, Holly, what do you think about this fatigue in your life? Is it happening, or are you like, nope, I'm going to find new ways to use this tool? I am today. So what say you, Holly?
Hey, good morning. Um, I don't use AI to the extent that a lot of people do, I think. So I don't really feel the fatigue of it. I think for me, the fatigue comes from trying to explore and figure out all the new parts of AI, if that makes sense at all. It was just a whole different direction than Tom was talking about. But I agree with everything Tom had to say. So I will tell you that I had someone contact me last week about editing a book that they had already edited through AI and wanted to run it by a human just to make sure that everything was okay. I looked into it and then I refused the job. I will tell you that, because it was a mess. I've not been approached with that aspect before, but I didn't take it on. So that kind of gave me a little brain fatigue. So
I don't know about you, Dom, but I am shocked that a book edited by AI was a mess. I mean, yeah, I think that perfectly encapsulates, kind of what we're talking about, Holly, in terms of what AI is good for and what it is not good for. But yeah, and I think, it depends on how online you are, I think, right? The level of fatigue you're feeling, because, if you spend a lot of time online, even just on any social media platform, but even on platforms like LinkedIn, like I mentioned before, or if you have an email address that you get emails to, I mean, the amount of AI slop emails I get on a daily basis is like absurd. So it's very it's interesting to hear that. But I'm not surprised at all that an AI edited book was an absolute disaster. And good for you for saying thanks, but no thanks, for sure. What do you think, Dom? Oh, are you having? Oh, he's got a phone call. I didn't even see that. I didn't see the little thing there. Anyway, sorry about that, Dom.
I'm back. My dad was leaving me the world's longest message here. I see it, it's popping up. And the thing about when dad calls, so I'm reading it here, but my dad will just like leave a 15-minute voicemail because he doesn't hang up the phone. And so I'm thinking, oh, I should listen, I should watch. But then on the other hand, is this message going to be 15 minutes long and avoid me? Okay, so let's hear from Julie and Jason before we roll to Tom's thumb. So, hey, Julie, we're talking about AI. Tom, you haven't seen it yet. Everybody in this room, I took notes I had from years ago. I took a chapter of a book I wrote from years ago. I wanted to turn it into a video game years ago, but I just couldn't figure it out. I had notes, and I took the notes and started creating a Atari style video game. Julie has played this video game. So take notes, take content, now marry things together and I think I'm going to put it on the Apple Store soon. So, Julie, speak on AI fatigue and the greatest video game ever. What do you got?
My gosh, your video game was so amazing. You're going to make millions of dollars from it, Tom, for sure. And if I can go back to Holly's comment about editing with AI, it gave me PTSD because I worked on a project with someone of some note, and she insisted the whole entire book be edited by AI. I almost threw up. I was like, my hands are done. I couldn't even believe it. It was horrible. And she was one of the Real Housewives too, so you can probably guess who that was. And AI fatigue. Well, I was also thinking about the psychological AI fatigue on time. Is it really saving us time? Number one, are we doing more and more and more because we think we're outputting all this stuff? And then as well as trust, the trust fatigue. Do you really trust what AI is doing? It can make your dreams come true, like Dom making this amazing video game, but are we fatiguing ourselves? And just throwing this back to you guys with time and trust, because that's what I see happening. And when people think, oh, it saves me so much time, is it really? Or are you just throwing out more crap? So thanks, guys. You're looking good. I'm watching you on LinkedIn too.
Hey, thank you, Julie. And you got a nice new family picture there. That is cool. But Tom asked me a question one day when I was creating something using AI, using notes. He was like, Tom, why? How much time you wasting? Why don't you just pay somebody else to do it rather than prompt it 1,000 times? Remember when you said that, Tom? It was like a slap in the face on something I was working on. I started thinking how many times I corrected this thing and thought, why didn't I just ask somebody else to do that? So go on, Tom. And then before we get to Jason and Dr. Tachi, I think we need a Tom Stump. So follow up on that. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things, right? Like, think about like it's like, oh, it's allowing me to do all this other stuff, and it's like, well, is it right? Like, how long would it take you to write, a newsletter completely on your own versus how long does it take you to prompt AI to write a newsletter for you? Right? How often you have to go back in and say, AI, change this, change that, do this, do that, right? Same thing with like formatting things. And is it really saving you time? And what is that time worth? And if you're really trying to save time, is it not maybe worth your dollars, right? To actually outsource some of that work, right? To turn around and actually pay another human being to do some of that work for you. Does that make more sense? Right. So I think that's a question worth asking for sure. Right. Like there are a lot of ways to determine whether or not AI is actually giving you the sort of efficiency advantage you think it is. And I think personally, I would say the best way for AI to do that is when you can set it to a task or ask it to do something, and then you can do something else while it's doing that. Right. But if you're just sitting there with a window open, going back and forth with it, you're not really saving any time.
Fair enough, Tom. Okay. Before we get to Jason and Dr. Tachi, thank you all for being here. This is an important moment of the show. This is the time for Tom Stump. That's actually the flip of the show, too. So, Tom, today for Tom Stumps, you're going to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but we're going to do something we've never done before. I want to put Tom in a time machine, and I'm taking handsome Tom back to when he was 15 years old. Tom, 15 years old, probably goofy looking, or was he super handsome? I probably had a student council. Tom, at 15 years old, thumbs up or thumbs down to back to school?
All right, back to school at 15 years old. So when I was 15, I did have hair, and I was a freshman in high school. And I was kind of, I had a weird, okay, so I had a weird, this is going to sound very strange, but I went to I went to a private school, and the school I went to went through ninth grade, which just sounds really weird. They had a weird system program, whatever. It's like an old school, like Northeast thing, because it was designed to be like a school that fed into like boarding. Like a lot of the people I went to school with from there went to boarding school. I did not. I went to a high school near where I grew up. But uh, uh, I went to this private school, and it went through ninth grade. So for me, at 15 years old, going into ninth grade, we were king of the heap, right? Like it was basically, it was senior year, right? Because we were the oldest class in the school, and it was a very small school. We were the oldest class in the school. And also I was with a group of people that I had essentially grown up with. Like there was a very small class. There was only about, I think there was only 34 or 35 of us in the class, right? Like the whole grade was like 35 people. It was very small. And we had all known each other. Most of us had known each other, have been going to school together since like kindergarten or first grade, right? So we had all sort of grown up together, spent all of our sort of formative youth together. And so for me at 15 years old, going into ninth grade, we weren't starting our freshman year in high school. We weren't going from like having just been king of the heap in middle school to like being, the freshmen that were about to get picked on and stuffed in lockers by the seniors, right? We were the top of the heap. So I never really had a true like freshman year in high school because of it. But also like we were kind of, we were on top of the world. at that point in our in our school life. So yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to going back to school that year, and also because we had all these old friends that we'd been in school with our whole lives. So it was getting back to seeing those people that maybe you hadn't seen much of over the summer, some of them, and a lot of us had seen each other over the summer doing various things, but maybe you hadn't seen everybody over the summer, and so getting to catch up with those folks and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I will give back to school for 15-year-old me a thumbs up, but I will wholly own that is unique to 15-year-old me. And I also get the sense that this kind of backfired for you, that you were hoping I would give it a thumbs down and I would hate it because of going back to school or going into like freshman year in high school or whatever. We had like a late cutoff, so like we were older than a lot of folks. So like I wasn't even the oldest kid in my class. Like there were kids older than me. There were kids that were 16, that turned 16 during our freshman year. But yeah, so I give it a thumbs up, but I feel like that backfired on you, which I'm kind of here for. I sort of enjoy.
Tom, I was thinking, I thought you'd go nostalgic today, but did you ever? I have like this fear in life, and I ingrained it on my kids that somebody was going to get stuffed in a locker. Did anybody get stuffed in a locker at your school?
I can't think of a specific locker stuffing incident. But I know neither did I participate in stuffing anyone in a locker, or was I ever stuffed in a locker. There were pranks and there were bad things done to people that were gross. But I don't remember anyone being stuffed in a locker per se.
My daughter.
Did you get stuffed in a locker?
No, but I told my daughter so many times that she was going to get stuffed in a locker. She, like, every year she's like, nobody has ever been stuffed in a locker. So no, I didn't get stuffed in a locker. But in my world, you went back to school, and probably until senior year, you were going to get in fights, and like after school, during school, walking behind the school. It's just that's just how it went. So it was like another year of, well, who are we gonna get in a fight with this year? And that's just how it was. Like, well, you had to walk with your head on a swivel so you didn't get sucker punched.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of fights. There were some fights here and there. We also, this was this was in the mid 90s, so it was a slightly different time. And we played games like Kill the Carrier at recess. So for anybody who's not familiar, basically it's one football and everyone tries to tackle the person with the football. So like you kill the carrier, like that's what it is. Like it's very straightforward, very very simple description. And so we would disguise, like our fights were always kind of disguised as like accidents that happened while we were playing those kinds of games, right? Like it would be somebody had a beef with somebody else and they would take it out on them during like recess, like playing Kill the Carrier. So it was sort of disguised, but we all knew what was going on. And sometimes there were punches thrown, like when teachers couldn't see, like in the midst of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we used to like, and the teachers let us. Like, it wasn't like a thing we had to like pretend we weren't doing. They just let us beat the tar out of each other at recess, like tackling full on, no pads, no helmets, like full running, tackling each other at recess, mostly on grass, but sometimes not landing on grass. I mean, there was blood like every day. So, I mean, I don't know if that's better, but it's what happened.
Tom, I'm loving that story. And we used to throw a ball up in the tree. That's how we did it at my house. We threw a football in the tree, and then whoever got it, it was one versus everybody. But what I'm most reminded of, and I'm sidebarring here, but you guys got to hear this. My parents lived in an old farmhouse, so the basement was very antiquated. Steps came down through it, and it's got weird steps and doors everywhere. We played a game called Lights Out Rumble. And Lights Out Rumble meant, like, I don't know why you ran around in circles, but at some point, one person would turn the lights off. And once the lights were off, everybody just fought. And so you could hide, you could fight, you could hang on my dad's punching bag and kick people as they ran around. But it was just a fight. And like you're saying, people would be bloody. People would, be like, "You kicked me in the face," and nobody seemed to mind until one of my mom's doors got a hole from a body going into it or something like that. And then we would get yelled at. But otherwise, Lights Out Rumble. Tom, I'm glad you brought the nostalgia back to school. Thank you.
We're gonna have to revisit this topic because there's so many crazy games that we played as kids. I got so many stories of just ridiculous, stupid things that we did. We're gonna have to come back to this time. There's too many to fit in today. I do have a good PSA I want to get to, and I'm cognizant that we have to get to Jason and Dr. Tachi on the subject of AI before we wrap out in like 15 minutes. So the clock is ticking. We don't have time for it today, but yeah, let's come back to this because I've got so many stories of crazy things.
Okay, I like that idea, and we will do a nostalgia day. We'll figure out title, how we'll frame it, and we're going to go back to the past for a day. Jason, AI fatigue. Jason's reads all the time, a student. He actually sent me a copy, a book to read this morning. So Jason, as a lifelong learner, is this AI fatigue? Is this so much content going out that's AI? What's your thoughts on this? Do you have it, or are you like, man, it's helping me?
I'll give it to you this way. Do you struggle with an outside world and an inside problem, and vice versa? Do you struggle with the outside world and, to express it, your inside world to outward? So all AI does is, I heard what you said about, editing a book. Okay, so here's a couple things. If you don't know how to give it direction like a human being, right? If Don, let's say you do work in publishing, and you have to work with a series of people that help the editor to get to the publisher, to get to the product, to where it's a finished proof where you can publish, print, and sell. Who followed directions and where were the gaps, right? So all this does is it's taking heed of experiences, rhythms, machine learning, let's just say every single thing of AI has a facet of facilitation of what humans do, right? And so people are trying to make shortcuts, cut corners, get me more of an effective, impactful. Let me make sure that it hits an algorithmic wave of interest to get a return, right? And the book I was sharing with you, Outdoor Kids in an Inside World, the writer talks about what we just went through in COVID, how I met you guys. I met you guys in Clubhouse during COVID when we were stuck, right? And it's like as soon as we got our privileges back to go outside, the one thing the writer pointed out was he was like saying, hey, you all crave to go outside and you hated just being in your backyard. You hated being on your block and you hated not being able to go to the beach or do what you normally did. But now that you do, now you go and struggle with AI. Now you struggle because you gave heed to something that can do probably just as good a job as many, but not all, right? So the custom experience of your life and where you play it and how it facilitates is up to you if you understand the directions you give it and the leverages you give it. That's like with anything and any person. So are you really with AI fatigue, or are you just trying to cut the corners that you need to take more careful evaluation in your discernment? Yes, it could probably edit it better than any of you and I if you give it the right parameters and constructive criticism. But it's how you facilitate its directions to tell you these are the edits, this would work better. Based on what? There is a part where you need to understand AI is a powerful term, hallucinations. AI hallucinations cause what you would describe as AI fatigue. You feel displaced. You're worn out. Why? Did you take a walk? Did you take a break? Did you go outside? Tom likes to do outdoor things and challenge his body. And he would emphatically say, we don't need this garbage. But people are still going with it. Why? Because taking time, like reading a book versus listening a book, have two different styles of experiences. You just have to facilitate what that means to you in your inside world. So I end there.
Jason, man, appreciate you. Appreciate you being here, and I knew you'd have some good thoughts on it. So thank you. All right, we're keeping this rolling. AI fatigue, is it real? Is it something Tom made up? Go on. Dr. Tachi, welcome. Good morning. Dr. Tachi, you want to weigh in on this? What do you got today?
Sure. Good morning. This is interesting because kind of piggybacking off of what Holly was talking about, or in tandem with what Holly was talking about, I actually was watching a video on YouTube yesterday of a graphic designer. And this individual was saying that there are lots of print shops who will not take jobs if they are generated by AI. So, for example, you're creating a flyer or something graphic, and they won't accept it because it's done by AI. And the reason being is because it takes them too much time to fix what was wrong. Because when you ask AI to create an image, and maybe you say, put it on a transparent background, if you've ever done that, turn it into what's called a PNG, you'll notice there's a checkerboard, a gray and white checkerboard pattern in the background. And that indicates that there is no color in the background, and you can use just the image, whether it's a logo or whatever. But what happens is ChatGPT or any other AI is just basically mimicking what should be transparent background. And so the checkerboard pattern won't be even. Sometimes you'll see the checkerboard pattern even bleed into the logo or whatever graphic you're making. And so it just makes it difficult to clean up. So there are lots of print shops who are saying, if it's done by AI, no, we can't do it. So that was interesting. So it just struck me that that's basically the same thing that Holly is saying, that it takes too long. And also Tom was saying this, that sometimes the process of using AI and then having to correct it for use is longer than if you would have just done it yourself, for example, on Canva. So again, that also comes with prompting. I guess there's no perfect solution. So that's my 5 cents.
Dr. Tachi, appreciate you. And you referenced graphic artists and AI created documents. Well, I had a project recently that somebody came in and they had really affinity for a cover they created using the chat or using whatever AI source they use. But it didn't have proper spacing. It didn't have margins and bleeds. It didn't have all these things that you needed. And then, as we know, when you try to duplicate it, when this person tried to duplicate it, it got farther from their original image and kept getting farther from their original image. And so then the placement of text on file and again, the margins and bleeds every time, it really got further. And I, after that project, said, I will have to, Dr. Tachi, truth, I'll have to charge somebody $1,000 extra if they think that I'm going to deal with their AI created document, because it was forever. And I just had to keep going back to my team and paying, and I paid good, more hours and hours and hours to turn this thing in. And I'm just thinking, here, it's just a mess. So I salute what Tom, before we get to you're shaking your head, yes. So you got to respond on that. So go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, we've run into this too. It's like the thing that that AI is particularly bad about is giving anything to you in an easily editable format, right? So like it will generate an image, right? And it will generate an image that approximately matches the specifications you give it. But almost always it misses some of the specifications that you need it to match. And it never gives it to you in a format that is easily editable. So you're kind of forced, and I wonder how much of this is by design. You're kind of forced to go back and reprompt and reprompt and reprompt, right? And the reason why I wonder if this is kind of by design is that ultimately AI is moving to like sort of a token based system, right? They do that on the enterprise level already, but ultimately that's what they're going to do on the lower tier models as well, as they continue to and this is a real term, as they continue to enshittify the product, right? But I wonder if it's by design, because they want you to have to keep prompting, keep going back, because every time you do, you use more tokens. And the more tokens you use, the more they can charge you for the tokens, right? So like, it makes a ton of sense that it does a really bad job of giving you something in an editable format, if you look at it that way. But yeah, I mean, that's what it does. It gives you something in a format that you can't edit, so you're forced to have to go back to it and reprompt and reprompt and reprompt and reprompt and reprompt, and still probably not get something that you're 100% happy with, and you still have to go and try to fix somehow. And yeah, it makes more work. But yeah, I mean, the token thing is something for another day. But I mean, there are large companies on the enterprise side who I think as of like the end of Q2 had already used up all of the token budget they'd allocated for AI for the year, because of that process of having to go back and reprompt and reprompt and reprompt so many more times than they anticipated, that they'd already burned through their whole budget for the year by Q2. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's all part of the plan, man. It's how they're trying to reverse that seesaw. Right now they're upside down on capital to revenue, and they're trying to reverse that so revenue is above capital. But the only way they can do that is by extracting more money from people.
Tom, that's fair. And you're reminding me of my video game. I did have to keep going back and prompt, and I'm running out of tokens and had to repay. So over and over. So they hooked me like a fish. Tom, you hook us like a fish with PSAs. I think you got something up your sleeve today. So you want to roll with the first PSA? What do you got?
I got to be honest. I'm not sure how I feel about about you saying that I hook you like a fish, or hook people like a fish. I don't know.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That was like a masterful segue. Dr. Tachi from Mediascope, was that a masterful segue? What do you got?
See, why do you keep trying to involve me in this wahala? See, don't put this on me.
We have decided, because after what was it, lumps of coal or something we handed? No, our March Madness tournament, that when you're here, you have to break ties between me and Tom. So thank you. That is your tiebreaker. Put that on your resume. So, okay, Tom, give us a PSA.
All right, here we go. So everybody here knows I'm a cyclist, right? They know I'm a triathlete, but part of that is obviously cycling, right? So we're back on cycling for a topic for today. And it's because I keep seeing more and more people posting videos about run-ins with automobiles, and specifically with cars sort of threatening to run people off the road, buzzing bicyclists, buzzing cyclists, getting way too close, doing it clearly on purpose. So this is a PSA to people who are doing that to cyclists. One, that's assault. I think a lot of people don't know what assault is, but the legal definition of assault is an intentional act that puts another person in reasonable apprehension of imminent, harmful, or offensive contact, right? So you don't have to actually hit them for it to be assault, right? And it could be assault with a deadly weapon because you're in a car and they're on a bicycle. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And the other thing I want to tell these people is more and more cyclists are riding with cameras now, right? So like, basically you should be looking at every cyclist you see on the road and assuming that they have the equivalent of a dash cam. And so if you buzz them with your car, if you honk the horn at them, if you yell at them, if you throw something at them, if you try to get as close to them as possible, sometimes even threatening and swerving as if you're going to run them off the road, that's assault, and they might have caught you on camera. And if they caught you and your license plate on camera, guess what? They can file charges. They can go to the police and they can ask the police to file charges against you. So just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about being a dick while you're driving a car and there's a bicycle on the road in front of you.
Tom, I'm signing off on that PSA. I dig it. I'm there with you. I just rode a longer on the trail the other day because I have issues with cars. Mess with me when I'm on my bike. I'm telling you. We talked about this before. I'm waiting for that person to mess with me like that. Just catch me when I'm having a bad day, when you want to beep your horn at me or swipe my side of my bike. I am ready.
Be like cutting line, huh? Cutting you in line and be just as bad.
That's my second thing. So,
All right.
all right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, my friend.
All right.
All right. Today, my PSA is for the WNBA. I love basketball. I love the purity of basketball. I love women's basketball. It can be the purest game. Teamwork, shooting, passing. A wonderful game. WNBA, you have no clue what you're doing. You're blowing the brand. You're killing it. Focus on the play, the teamwork. Stay out of politics. Stay out of trying to make your game men's basketball from 1982. It is not that. Just focus on the wonderful players that have given it their all, that have practiced for years and years and years to be able to play at these high levels. Instead, every time they get pulled into the mud over players and arguments and outside arguments, just put out a great product. At the end of the day, it is about the pureness of basketball. Put out a great product and quit screwing around with all this other nonsense. There you go.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff too about the WNBA like recently, and that there's a lot of people who are kind of unhappy with the organization, right? Not so much with the teams or the players, right? Like, people who are basketball fans, I think, love watching it because, those women are out there killing it and they're great players. I also particularly love, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a tendency, because, men have I think are imbued with a certain level of audacity because of our culture. And there are a lot of men who think that they could beat professional female athletes at their own game. Men who probably couldn't, shoot their way off of a couch, think that they can beat players in the WNBA and other various professional sports, professional athletes on the women's side. And there's actually a channel online now that I've seen on Instagram, but I know they're on other platforms that puts that to the test. That basically takes these guys, says, "Hey, do you think you could beat, a professional WNBA player in a 3-point contest or something like that, or in a one-on-one game?" And these idiots, with their audacity, will say, "Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, they're good, but for a girl," like these kind of idiots. And then, and then they put them to the test and just school them, and it is great to watch. I highly recommend it. It will do two things. One, it'll make you laugh because these men continually get embarrassed because they're idiots and they deserve to be embarrassed. But also, it really highlights just how skilled these athletes are, these women are, and how good they are at the games that they play. And at their individual athletic pursuits. So yeah, I highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, go try to find it. It's a ton of fun. I don't know the name of the channel, but I'm sure if you search for men taking on professional female athletes, you'll find it.
Tom, I salute that 100%. So yeah, and right to the WNBA thing, it's just the leadership. Figure out what you want to do and figure out how to keep your players safe, how to produce a good game, and do that. So, Tom, okay, what do we got? We got Memory Lane here today. I'm going to keep it quick, and then we're going to a close for you. Memory Lane, I'm actually going to show you something today. I've been riding high all summer about my Pittsburgh Pirates. Here's a little ice cream bowl. It says, "Let's go Bucks." My flag is down in front of my house. The flag that flies when they're over 500, it's down now. It's sad. I can't even put a positive spin on this. So they got me to August. They're like 5 games. They're just losing nonstop. So all I can look at is my nice ice cream bowl and hope maybe. I mean, the Knicks were down 29 and came back and won the championship. But it's bad. Things are going south real fast here. So memory lane was 2 months ago in summer when things were good, and now I'll just hold my ice cream bowl and hope that we can pull things together. That's what I got, Tom.
Dreaming of the days when the Pirates flag was flying at the top of the staff.
It's just not the same. People pass by my house, and there's no flag anymore. I mean, obviously we have our USA flag that we put up, but no pirate flag right now. Tom, it's that point. It's that point of the show. What do you got for us? Take us home. How do you even do it? I don't think it can be done. Go on, my friend.
I think I'm going to keep it. We obviously ranged all over the place with a variety of topics today, so I'm gonna try to keep it brief and simple. Here's what I think is going on, right? Their AI fatigue is definitely real. People are getting tired of seeing the same stuff regurgitated over and over again and fed to them as slop on the internet. AI fatigue is real. It's been overhyped. People have used it too much, too fast. And just like anything else, I will channel my favorite one of my favorite creators on the internet. He goes by the Planet Slant. His name's Liam. He does a great job creating content about food and diet culture and food culture on the internet. And I encourage everyone to check him out. But I will quote him: everything in moderation. Right? I think you do anything at 500% and you're gonna get tired of it. Right? So like the ice cream analogy I was using earlier, if you eat ice cream for every meal, even if you absolutely love ice cream, you're going to end up getting sick of ice cream. And that's where we are. We were force-fed AI. It was shoved down our throats. We were told it was inevitable and that it would replace everyone's jobs by 2028. We know now, obviously, those were farcical claims. They make no sense and are not grounded in reality. And the truth behind them was that the intention was to drive up users, drive up the user base, increase the user base so that they could try to get their equation of capital versus revenue to make sense. And they haven't been able to do it. And so that's why I think we're in an AI bubble. Is AI going away? No. Do I think AI is the industrial revolution? Also, no. It's more like the introduction of the internet or the introduction of email or those kinds of tools, right? Maybe more like the internet. It may be more revolutionary than email, for example. But it's not the industrial revolution. It is not going to replace the kind of work that the industrial revolution replaced. It is not going to reshape humanity and the way we live in the same way that the industrial revolution did. It's more akin to the internet or maybe the smartphone, something like that, I think. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I think that's where we're at. Continue to be fatigued, push back on AI slop, and hopefully maybe we can get it reined in and actually make it a useful part of our everyday lives and make our interactions with it more beneficial. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks everybody for being here with us today. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. You guys are the reason why we do this every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You are who makes Dom and I not the smartest guys in the room. And we thank you for that. We thank you for all the years that you've been helping us be smarter. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here as always. For Dom, I'm Tom. We're not the smartest guys in the room. And we will see you next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Until then, have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We love you. Bye-bye.